Good morning.
It is.
Well, I stepped out of the vortex quite a few times before we got here. Wednesday night or Thursday morning, I ended up in the hospital with a kidney stone. That cleared up in about 20 hours. Then we got to the airport and the kids missed the plane. So we had to rearrange that whole thing, and we just really were able to step back, let it go, and everything worked out great. So a few years ago, I was speaking to you, and you were talking about people name on a list. So I had this person that was on my list, and since then I've learned the only...
Your hit list?
On my hit list, yes. So since then I've learned the only person I could put on that name on the list is myself. I can't put anybody else's name down there because I'm responsible for everything that's going on.
But you know what? That yours is the last name we want on that list. It's much better to put the others on it.
So
because speaking in terms of this vortex, when you are feeling self-loathing, that is the furthest from the vortex that you can be. And we don't want you to feel negative toward anyone, but it really is better. Blame is a much better vibration than guilt. It is.
Right.
Closer to the vortex. Blame, closer to the vortex. Now, you may say, well, Abraham, you cannot be teaching us well if you are encouraging hit lists and blame. And we say everything relative to your relationship with the vortex is a comparative thing. So anything that feels a little better is the step in the right direction. Yes.
So I guess my question is, when I walk into a room, I want to be the pendulum. I want to be the one that people come up to meet my energy versus me going to meet their energy. But
wait, first you've got to decide what room you're walking into. Because if you're walking into a room in the vortex, then that is an excellent intention. But if you walk into a room with a bunch of people that aren't in the vortex, and it is your intention to be approved of and appreciated by them, then you might have to tune your vibrational signal away from who you really are to attract those people. That's worth thinking about. And a lot of people, we know that you understand about the vortex, and we know that you want to be tuned in. But taken at face value, what you just said, in other words, there are a lot of people who are looking for approval from others, who without even meaning to have tuned themselves so far away from who they are. And they do find some approval. In other words, you can get on the right rant, you can stand on the right soapbox, and others will line up behind you. But we think it would be a very good statement to say, I want one thing and one thing only, and that is to get into the vortex. And the other thing that we want to say to you about getting other people to line up and to visit with you, law of attraction is going to take care of that. So your intention is to get into the vortex where the cooperative components that are assembled will be pleasing as they gather.
Right.
Let's speculate something here just for a moment, because what you're talking about really makes this a perfect time to talk about this. So you get the sense of this vortex? Yes? Yes. So you were source energy before you came into this body. You came into this body. The contrast causes you to ask and ask and ask and ask. And with each asking, whether you do it verbally or not, there is an amassing and a becoming of who you are. So this being that is you expands as a result of the life that you're living. And the law of attraction is responding to this. Now think about how long this point of attraction has been going on. We know that a word like long or time is only relevant to you who live in a time-space reality, but think about all of the beforeness that has happened relative to this. In other words, think about this powerful attracting that has been going on. It is enormous, this attraction of who you are. It's enormous. That's why it feels so off when you're not in it, and so on when you are. In other words, this is who you are, and this is where you belong. So this is a powerful vortex. So we speak of the two aspects of you. There is the who you really are, and then there's the who you're being. And if you let who you're being be who you really are, in the closing of that gap, in the alignment of that energy, it is a delicious experience. But do you think that this vortex is the only game in town? There are a lot of let's see, it's mice and mices, vortex and vortex. So there are all many swirling And depending upon what you are giving your attention to, you can be swept up in something like that. And your question, if it is spoken in the way that most people speak it, in other words, there are a lot of things going on that you can feel the power of that are not close to who you really are.
Right. So I guess my concern is sometimes I'm not in that place where I think I should be and walk into a room and pick up on other people's energy and then get into their vortexes. And I want to stay out of that.
But here's the thing. You can't get into their vortex unless you're a vibrational match to it.
Gotcha.
So what this means is before you walk into a room, you want to get yourself lined up. In other words, be who you are. Be who you are before. Some years ago, we offered a process called segment intending. And the purpose of it was to tune yourself to who you are before you take the action that life is requiring of you. So before you get into your vehicle, get in the vortex. Before you walk into a room, get into the vortex. Walk into the situation offering the vibration that you mean to offer so that your point of attraction will be as you are wanting it to be, you see. In other words, we've offered over time a lot of different descriptions in wanting to get your attention about your vibrational countenance, because most people are so good at seeing the reality of things that they don't even realize that they are vibrationally based beings. Most people that you will meet don't know that they are offering a vibration, and they don't know that law of attraction is causing the coalescing of those vibrations. So most people, while they are aware of the different experiences that they're having, aren't aware of the science behind it. They aren't aware of the vibrational reasons for it, you see. And once you know what you know, and once you understand that your emotions are your indicator, then you could walk into a room. Let's say that you get up, you're not paying attention to what you're doing, and you just walk into a situation, and the situation is not as you want it to be. Now, it's shocking. Esther thought that she was in the vortex. In other words, she was really ready for this, but when she walked in and realized there was no feed going to her computer, it was an out of the vortex moment. In other words, it was not a pleasing experience at all. But because she is accustomed to standing here, she's accustomed to us flowing through, she's accustomed to you drawing us through. In other words, she spends so much more time, especially in a setting like this, in the vortex, that even though she had an out of the vortex moment, it wasn't the dominant vibration within her. It was easy for her to release it. Karen's reassuring words, Mike's reassuring words. In other words, it was easy to just release the attention to what was taking her out, and the vortex took her right in again, you see. And that's the thing. Once you spend deliberate time feeling good through meditation, through making lists of positive aspects, by looking for reasons to feel good, by playing the isn't it nice game or the wouldn't it be nice if game, what happens is your dominant, most often activated vibration is a vibration inside the vortex. And then what happens? And we think this is part of what you're describing. When you walk into a room that's not up to speed with you, it feels like an alien room. It just feels off in there. And it's not because anybody's being unkind, and it's not because they aren't eager to welcome you. It's because vibrationally speaking, you're on different signals. And in order for you to have, and hear the specific word that we're offering here, in order for you to have a meaningful experience with a room like that, you got to adjust your vibration. And when you adjust your vibration and have a meaningful, meaning they can hear you and you can hear them, you've chosen them over who you really are. And then you say, I don't really like these people very much. You can't really pinpoint why. Didn't feel very good in there. Didn't feel like who I am, you see. And we say, we would never, and we do never, adjust our vibration. You will never coax us out of the vortex to have a conversation with you, you see. And so just being aware of it, just being aware of who you are.